An Oklahoma City woman named Ashley Stabler first went viral in February of 2015 following her arrest for driving with a suspended license, having improper license plates, and having no proof of insurance. While the circumstances surrounding the incident don't seem particularly unusual or interesting, it was Stabler's gaping expression in her mugshot that caught nationwide attention. Police did not take a second booking photo, nor did they divulge why Stabler looked so shocked in the image, which was just one of numerous mugshots that she has posed for in the years since. After her arrest, Stabler was booked into the Oklahoma County Jail with bond set at $600. Records indicate that she was charged with unauthorized possession or use of a stolen vehicle on multiple occasions, starting in 2017, and it appears as though she served a 3 to 4 year sentence for her past crimes. A social media post featuring a mugshot from early 2024 suggests that she was on parole at one point and that her supervision was revoked. Stabler was most recently released from state custody in late April of this year. Number 15. Ty Anthony Sage. On May 20th of 2025, 26-year-olds Ty Anthony Sage and Kevin Rivas Ramirez were arrested for the 2021 murder of an Oregon teenager named Logan Ivy, who was fatally shot outside an apartment complex in Gresham. Sage pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree robbery and was denied bond during a hearing in September, yet he somehow managed to secure his release from the Multnomah County Jail by posting a $5,000 bond. He then went on the run, triggering an extensive manhunt while authorities circulated his mugshot to the public, hoping that someone would tip them off to his whereabouts. The search ended 3 days later when Sage was apprehended at a gas station along Highway 101 Florence. In a statement, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office said that the employees involved in the incident had acted in good faith while acknowledging the gravity of the mistake. The agency vowed not to let a similar incident happen again, and officials are reportedly working to identify the errors that led to Sage's accidental release. Number 14. Anna Piccioli. In May of 2015, a seemingly intoxicated Massachusetts woman named Anna Piccioli was placed in protective custody after getting into a fight with a friend at her house in Waltham. Responding officers spoke with the victim, who accused Piccioli of punching her in the throat with a closed fist while in an agitated state. Piccioli reportedly smelled strongly of alcohol and displayed obvious signs of intoxication, despite claiming that she had only consumed a small amount of vodka. The police noticed that she was unsteady on her feet, with one officer noting in a report that she was swaying back and forth during their conversation. After refusing to answer any questions, Piccioli was placed in the back of a police cruiser. She kicked the partition and ceiling while screaming "police brutality" and making other inflammatory remarks. Her erratic behavior continued during the booking process, when she sucked on her finger in her mugshot and allegedly tried to escape from the police station by running toward the door. Piccioli was charged with assault and battery, resisting arrest, assault and battery on a police officer, and escape. Number 13. Joseph Castro Del Rio. In November of 2020, a Massachusetts man gained overnight fame due to his mugshot after being arrested in Manchester, New Hampshire, for threatening police officers. 33-year-old Joseph Castro Del Rio sported a beard on only one side of his face in the mugshot, as if he had been arrested in the middle of shaving. He was taken into custody by officers who were performing crowd control while forcibly moving homeless people away from a local courthouse. Del Rio was accused of kicking at least 2 officers in an aggressive manner while shouting into a megaphone. He fled on foot when the cops tried to arrest him and was captured down the street by other members of law enforcement. But Del Rio's criminal case did not bring his days of activism to an end, as evidenced by his recent arrest for disrupting a Charlie Kirk memorial in Boston. The incident was captured on video, which showed the 38-year-old being led away in handcuffs. While he denied that he had been disturbing the peace, he was charged with disorderly conduct but refuted allegations that he had been causing a disturbance, even though he had been shouting through a bullhorn during a candlelight vigil. Del Rio told a reporter from WCVB that he had been arrested 5 times for protesting in the 20 years he's been demonstrating, and that he tends to get in trouble because people can't handle the truth. He made it clear during the interview that even though he may not have agreed with Kirk's views, he thinks it's wrong to assassinate someone for voicing their beliefs. Number 12. Jason Mayhem Miller. In October of 2015, former UFC fighter Jason Mayhem Miller was arrested for an outstanding warrant at his Orange County, California home, following a 5-hour standoff with a SWAT team. Just days later, police responded to the home after receiving a report about a possible domestic disturbance between Miller and 2 women. During the confrontation that ensued, Miller threw a ceramic tile at deputies and threatened them with a fire extinguisher and a metal pole, giving law enforcement no choice but to tase him in order to get the situation under control. Following Miller's arrest, his mugshot went viral due to the seemingly crazed expression on his face. But this wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. He was arrested many more times in the years that followed, amassing convictions for vandalism, violating a protective order, violating probation, and more. Miller hit one of his lowest points when he became homeless and found himself wandering along Skid Row, but his downward spiral continued. In September of 2023, just months after he was released from a 1-year jail sentence, Miller was arrested yet again for getting into a fight at a nightclub. This seems to have marked the turning point when he decided to finally straighten his life out. He's been sober for a few years now and is reportedly doing well. Number 11. Audra Johnson. In January of 2025, the mugshot of a visibly ailing Leesburg, Florida woman began to circulate online following the suspect's arrest for domestic violence in Lake County. 47-year-old Audra Johnson was booked into custody on a battery charge with bond set at $1,000. But the details of the incident that led to her arrest are unclear. Records from around that same time show that Johnson was named as the respondent in a petition for an injunction against domestic violence, which was filed by a man named Solomon Johnson. The petition was denied, and Audra petitioned for the same type of order just days later, which was also denied. The following month, Solomon submitted a letter to the court in a separate case, stating that he and his child had moved out of Audra's home after his petition for an injunction order was denied. It appears as though Audra pursued an eviction case against Solomon along with back pay for expenses, while Solomon argued that he was current on all household costs when he moved out. The judge denied Audra's complaint, citing it as legally insufficient, and gave Solomon time to file a counter-complaint if he so wished. The case appears to be ongoing, while updates on the criminal case against Audra have not been forthcoming. Records show that she had previously pursued domestic violence injunction orders against at least 2 other individuals. Number 10. David Bartol. White supremacist gang member David Bartol has a face full of tattoos and no shortage of booking photos, and most of them are equally shocking. In 2015, he was arrested for torturing and trying to kill a man named Nicholas Remington. 3 years earlier, the gruesome assault took place inside an auto garage in southeast Portland, Oregon, where Remington was being secretly confined by members of the Crude Rude Brood gang. According to court records, the victim was stripped, tortured with a grinder, beaten with a baseball bat, and forcibly injected with heroin and methamphetamine. Remington's captors then dumped him in the street and left him to die, but he survived after being found unresponsive and rushed to the hospital, where he was placed on a ventilator after suffering a drug overdose and a serious head injury. Bartol was already in custody with multiple open criminal cases when he was charged with trying to kill Remington. He was facing an aggravated murder charge for the stabbing death of his cellmate, 33-year-old Gavin Lee Cecil, along with charges for torturing another man in a similar fashion to Remington. In 2016, Bartol was found guilty of murdering Cecil and sentenced to death row. His punishment has since been commuted to life without parole, and he's also serving a 55-year sentence for his other crimes, which include 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, 5 assault charges, and more. Number 9. Anthony Ward. In late 2016, a heavily tattooed repeat offender named Anthony Ward was arrested in Warren County, Ohio, on suspicion of child enticement and aggravated trespassing. He adamantly maintained his innocence and took the case to trial, where he got a chance to explain the story behind his unorthodox artwork. Ward claimed that he allowed fellow inmates to tattoo him after his son passed away. On the day of the alleged trespassing incident, he was going door to door and asking if anyone needed their driveway plowed as a way to make extra money during the holiday season. He told the jury that when the alleged victim declined his services, he wished her a Merry Christmas and carried on with his day. Prosecutors accused Ward of trying to lure the girl into his truck, but the jury was unconvinced of his guilt and he was acquitted of all charges. This was especially good news for Ward, who would have likely faced jail time due to being on parole at the time of the incident. Number 8. Jeffrey Giddings. With nearly 30 criminal cases filed against him in Klamath County, Oregon, between 1994 and 2012, white supremacist Jeffrey Giddings was already no stranger to the law when he was accused of opening fire on a police officer in Clackamas County during the summer of 2016. The incident began when Giddings fired multiple rounds at Gladstone Police Sergeant Lee Junt for trying to pull him over while he rode his bicycle in Gladstone. Giddings then retreated into a nearby Subway restaurant where he held a female employee hostage for 2 hours while engaging in a tense standoff with law enforcement. Junt survived thanks to the ballistic vest he was wearing, but his injury spelled the end of his policing career. Giddings also reportedly shot at a sheriff's deputy during the tense confrontation, but did not strike any additional victims, and he was taken into custody after members of a SWAT team shot him in order to disable him. After being treated for non-life-threatening injuries, he was booked into custody on a laundry list of charges. In 2017, Giddings pleaded guilty to attempted murder, first-degree kidnapping, first-degree criminal mischief, coercion, unlawful use of a weapon, felon in possession of a firearm, and methamphetamine possession. After being sentenced to 30 years in prison, he apologized to the woman he held hostage before insulting Junt in a profanity-laden anti-police rant. The judge held Giddings in contempt for his commentary and sentenced him to an extra 30 days behind bars. Number 7. Brittany Wilson. A Christmas Eve methamphetamine binge had a tragic ending for one Missouri couple in 2021, landing one of them behind bars and the other in the grave. Police responded to their Cape Girardeau home to find 32-year-old Brittany Wilson covered in blood in the front yard, with a sword lying in the grass nearby. She confessed to stabbing her boyfriend, 34-year-old Harrison Stephen Foster, because she believed he was possessed by multiple entities and that she was setting him free. Inside their home, officers found Foster dead with multiple stab wounds. In the meantime, Wilson was taken down to booking where her strange behavior continued. In addition to telling police that she believed Foster had been harvesting body parts, she flashed a beaming grin for her booking photo. She pleaded not guilty to murder and armed criminal action during a court hearing a few days later and remains in custody at the Cape Girardeau County Jail as of late 2025, with bond set at $2 million. Number 6. Dennis Scalf. An Ohio man's face and head full of tattoos proved helpful to law enforcement when police were searching for him in Columbus, Ohio for robbing a taxi driver at gunpoint. The incident took place in October of 2016 when the suspect, Dennis Scalf, held up the driver after hailing a ride. Authorities released surveillance images of the suspect, who was in custody less than 24 hours later, thanks to the flood of civilian tips that came in. Prison records showed that Scalf was convicted of aggravated robbery and break-in and entering in early 2017. He was sentenced to roughly 5 years in prison with a parole eligibility date of February 2022. Sadly, Scalf died just months later in July of that year. The circumstances surrounding his untimely passing and his cause of death are unclear. Number 5. Roberto Carlos Silva Jr. 2 people were killed and 2 others were injured on a Saturday night in November of 2020 when a man opened fire on customers at a Sonic restaurant in Bellevue, Nebraska. Police responded to a report of a possible bomb explosion and found 28-year-old Ryan Helbert and 22-year-old Nathan Pastrana dead at the scene. The other 2 victims were rushed to the hospital, and the suspect, 23-year-old Roberto Carlos Silva Jr., was arrested without incident. He soon went viral not only due to the shocking nature of the crime, but because of the ear-to-ear grin he flashed in his mugshot. Just days earlier, Silva had been arrested for using another customer's account to order $57 worth of food at the same restaurant. He was charged with identity theft in that case and was free on bail when he committed the double homicide. Silva's mental health soon landed at the center of the case, and he was held in solitary confinement at the Sarpy County Jail while being ordered to undergo an evaluation. In the meantime, he pleaded guilty in early 2022 to 15 criminal charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, and first-degree arson. Prosecutors were intent on seeking the death penalty, but the proceedings were put on hold. While Silva remained under psychiatric scrutiny, he was declared incompetent and was undergoing treatment as of late 2023 in an attempt to restore his competency in hopes that the court could proceed to the sentencing phase of his case. Number 4. Michael Mann. In January of 2018, Cincinnati police appealed to the public for information on the whereabouts of a criminal suspect who shouldn't have been too difficult to spot due to the large dollar sign tattooed over his eye and his other facial artwork. 34-year-old Michael Mann was wanted on aggravated burglary and domestic violence charges for climbing into a victim's home through an unlocked window and assaulting them. He already had dozens of arrests on his record, including prior domestic violence incidents, as well as previous cases of aggravated burglary and drug charges. In addition to his conspicuous ink, Mann should have been easy to notice due to his height. At 6 foot 3 inches tall, he's considerably taller than most people. He was eventually caught, and he went on the run again later that year after kidnapping someone and holding them for ransom. Despite his repeated offenses, Mann continued to somehow walk free. He was arrested yet again in June of 2019 for punching the mother of his child in the face, but died the following year, bringing his repeated brushes with the criminal justice system to an unceremonious end. While authorities never publicly revealed the details surrounding Mann's death, internet rumors claim that he was found beaten to death in an abandoned warehouse. Number 3. Mark Siebenmorgen. At a time when the concept of going viral wasn't nearly as widespread as it is today, an Oregon man named Mark Siebenmorgen gained national attention for his alarming booking photo following his arrest in 2010 in Milwaukee, Oregon. The 46-year-old was accused of assaulting 3 people during a destructive rampage at the city's transit center. More specifically, he allegedly shoved a man to the ground without provocation, threw rocks at a woman, and damaged a vehicle. Siebenmorgen was known to suffer from mental illness, which was likely a factor in his decision to jump on the hood of a parked car while the driver was inside. He could be seen flexing his muscles and flailing his arms before kicking the windshield and fleeing on foot following his capture. Siebenmorgen was booked into custody on charges of assault, menacing, harassment, and criminal mischief. A judge found him not guilty the following month, with his mental issues and a witness's questionable credibility appearing to be factors in the decision. Number 2. Wynn Kiven Satterlee II. In August of 2024, police arrested a trio of female bandits in Stagecoach, Nevada, following a 4-hour standoff with the suspects, later identified as 24-year-old Haley Marie Groh, 34-year-old Candace Ashley Hughes, and 26-year-old Wynn Kiven Satterlee II. The women had barricaded themselves inside a local residence where a man had been robbed at gunpoint by 2 male suspects. Officers made entry after obtaining a search warrant and took the women into custody while the 2 male suspects managed to escape. Groh, Hughes, and Satterlee were each charged with conspiracy to commit robbery with a deadly weapon, while Satterlee was hit with an additional charge of being an ex-felon in possession of a weapon. All 3 of the women were booked into the Lyon County Jail with bond set at $60,000 for Satterlee and $40,000 for Groh and Hughes. The outcome of the case is unclear. Number 1. Gabriel Harris. A drunken late-night Taco Bell run ended sadly for one Florida man in November of 2014, and he didn't hesitate to show his disappointment in his mugshot after being arrested for refusing to leave. 33-year-old Gabriel Harris and his girlfriend arrived at the restaurant in New Smyrna Beach via bicycle, but the business had already closed for the night. They tried riding their bikes through the drive-thru, which was also an issue, and the couple was asked to leave the property, but they wouldn't budge, so workers called the police. The responding officer noticed a Swiss Army knife on Harris's belt and went to grab it, leading to a brief struggle before Harris was placed under arrest. Both he and his girlfriend seemed intoxicated, according to police, and Harris was booked into custody for resisting arrest and battery on a law enforcement enforcement officer. Records show that he pleaded no contest and successfully completed a probation sentence the following year. Thanks for watching. Would you rather spend a month in prison or 1 day but have your mugshot from that arrest go viral? Let us know in the comment section below.